What's going on, Tamers? It's your boys, the host of the one, the only DigiPod, the digital podcast. How's it going, Gino?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. It's a nice day, nice afternoon, evening, I guess now at this point. I got nothing new. It's just another day in the office. How about you, Dan?
I feel you. It's definitely nice here, but it's weird. It's supposed to be May, and it's not like normal May weather in PA. Like, I should be able to have a fan on right now and not feel cold, but I can't even have a fan on because it's gonna feel cold in my house, which is crazy, especially in this time of the year.
Yeah, it's definitely chillier. It's been chillier, and it's gonna be chilly like all week, like 50s, 60s for us.
Right, and then Saturday, hopefully, it's gonna be a good time. Saturday's supposed to be a barbecue for me, and so it's supposed to be a nice day out. So hopefully, all things considered, it should be a good day.
Fingers crossed, because I plan to be there.
He said, "I'm eating that." I made sure I gave them the mac and cheese order, you know, so you can make sure you have extra mac and cheese, you know, all right?
All right, yeah, because rarely at a barbecue there's not many things I can eat, so I got the mac and cheese locked down.
Yeah, for sure. But locals. I did effing terrible. It was not a good day in the office for me. Poor choice of judgment of my part on my plays, and that caused me to go 1-2 at locals. It's been a minute since I've been that bad. Probably would have been an 0-3 if I would have played someone for real in the third round, honestly. Just the way I was playing.
What does that mean?
You know, they don't know the card games yet, really. So
fair.
That's why. But I played Justimon. I was checking out that deck list that topped or won a JP store regional, whatever their thing is over there. Want to check it out because I love playing the Justimon deck. I think it's such a cool type, and unfortunately not much goes on with that deck or that style of like popping options and using options like that. And so wanted to test it out. And honestly, in testing, if I wasn't being a dumbass, the deck was actually feeling pretty good. In today's game, a lot of decks rely on having options on board and then doing a huge pop-off turn. So if you're able to raise early, get into a Justimon that has protection, and pop their options, you're kind of like stalling them out in that sense. So it's pretty cool in that aspect. And then you have obviously like the OTK potential. It's pretty cool being able to do 5 checks pretty easily in that deck. You go like Justy Ace, for example, swing. Effect of Cyber X, trash one. That's 1 check, unsuspend. Evo to like Justy X, do 2 more checks, unsuspend, then do another 2 checks. And so it's pretty easy to get them down to 0. Pretty easy to OTK as well if you already have put them at 4. The problem is with that deck is because you're running so many options that aren't your normal standard of search and then like gain memory or reduce your Evo cost. Your starting plays has to be good hand. If it's not a good hand, you're kind of in a bad spot. Obviously, the deck runs like Mem Boost, but you're not running as much as like a Styracomon's running, or you know, Puppets are running, or stuff like that, or even like consistency drawing of Millenniumon. And so it's interesting. It's in a weird spot, but hopefully one day in the future gets better support that can help the deck out. Round 1, I played against TS Slop, and Game 1, I lose because I go into the wrong Justimon. Instead of the Ace, I go into the CS Justimon Blitzarm. And I've said in the past, because I've talked about this deck prior, I think that one's actually the worst Justimon Blitzarm specifically.
I don't have him in my list at all.
Exactly. Back then, because I remember testing it out at like 3 to 4, and I remember he kept switching the Ace, and I kept bumping the Ace up higher to the point where it was like 2-4 or something like that. I remember correctly. And this one, I had it at like 3-1 or something like that, and I had a point of I forgot about the unsuspend is not when digivolving, it's part of the all turns. So I went to Justy X, and I go swing, and I go, oh wait, I don't get an unsuspend. I can't win this turn the way I expected. And because I didn't do that, I ended up losing like a turn or 2 later because I got stunned and I couldn't attack or something like that. It was something along the lines of that. If I went to the ace like I should have went into, I would have just won that turn and called it a day. And then game 2, like I mentioned, you need to have a good starter hand. You need to have the rookie champion, a level 5, and then a 6, or at least Rio or something. I ended up having a good starter hand in the sense of I got rookies and I got champions, and I saw nothing else. And so I went like Manjuma on the back. I think a hard job Haguruma. I got a search off. I got a Rio, and I got like a 5. I think it was Cyber X. And I'm like, all right, cool, great. And then I keep playing the game, never find a single 6. And his board ended up getting super wide, and I knew immediately. I was like, and then he did start on his turn. He went to the Gato, did the Sylphie play to swing, start a turn. And I was like, scoop. And ain't no way I'm doing anything with this board. But you doing that, you're gonna be doing 4 checks, and you have like 3 other bodies on board. Anyways, I think at that point, I was like, yeah, this not that I could do about this. Downside with Justimon is there's not much removal besides Digivolve in the deck. Like you have the Cyberjamon pop, and then that's really it. Kind of. You do have like if you're playing the CS Blitz arm where that pops like the lowest level, and it's whatever in that sense. But your options is what kind of like helps you win the game, because you kind of want to stun them. You kind of want to either not Digivolve. If they're in security, they're great option bombs, but like their main abilities just kind of helps you stop them from doing anything, and then allows you to potentially OTK. Because funny thing you could do is if you have 2 memory, if they have a stun Digimon that can't suspend, you just hard jump Justy X and go for game. Like that's legitimate funny play you can do, because he has rush on body, and then he has end of turn. If your opponent has a unsuspended Digimon, you can just swing at opponent's player. And so I think you could do shenanigans like that, which is kind of funny.
That's funny.
Many times I almost had that. Yeah, many times I almost had that, but I was like a memory short from doing that type of play. I'm just like, god darn. This is where the Justy Kick option would come in, I believe.
Justice Kick still just costs plays 12.
I think it has an own reduction, doesn't it? I think it has its own
if you have a black tamer.
Like,
if you have a black tamer, maybe?
I feel like it does.
I have it open
I don't remember.
Over here. Let me look.
Got it.
But
that's the one
crazy.
time you
see. I'm telling you, you gotta put that other
gotta run Justice Kick.
You gotta run Rush Cyberdramon. That's what you need to run.
100%. Not saying definitely. The only downside you're forcing collision though. You can't do it.
Well, if they're stunned, they can't collide.
Oh, true. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So when you would use this card, reduce its cost by 1 for each tamer you have in play.
Yeah. So yay. All that matters is if you're at 1, 11 drop. I think it's Justimon and name too. Or is it just Justimon?
In its name.
Yeah, so you drop the Justy X for 11.
That's very funny. You know what kills me though is that the security effect is so bad. The security effect is play a black tamer from hand, then add this card to hand.
It's great. So bad. Such a bad card.
But so
that
terrible.
One time you get it off though, I'm just saying.
It's final crossblade energy right there.
Yo, facts. It really is. So yeah, so I ended up losing to TS like I mentioned. Round 2, I ended up playing against blue hybrid / yellow hybrid, whatever you want to call it.
Angar.
And yeah. And I ended up losing that one 2-1. Game 1. It was quite a bit of a grind fest, honestly. We were back and forth, and it was kind of funny. Like, I knew he knew I searched an ace, but I ended up drawing my second ace after that. So I had 2 stacks with a Cyberdramon and a Excel Arm, or Critical Arm, which is the newest promo one. That's Excel Arm, I think. The one
Excel Arm's the newest
that
promo.
Stuns. That you can't do.
The good one. The best one, really, at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And so I had those 2 on board. So I knew he had a stun body, and I knew he couldn't get around both of those blockers. But like he doesn't know that. So he could have honestly attempt to go for game. He actually doesn't, which is a surprise. He doesn't even swing once. I have 0 security as well. And so he has like a Uko, a stun Angar, and like two tamers in the back. And what happens is that he plays Ice Wall and then sets up a board state, but like it didn't matter basically. And the following turn, I deal with something on board, and then I stun them again because I kept using the blue device, and I just kept stunning his board state. And I pass turn again. I have double ace, so if he needs to swing, I can block. And I'm also pretty big where he can't. His Angar won't even like do anything about it. And then I ended up just winning it. Game 2. Oh, I started all good, had a great play, and I decided to get greedy AF and did the funny play. So I ended up having double Rio immediately, and I ended up having 4 devices immediately because of that. And so I could have done the smart play and just Evo climb up the chain like I was going to regardless, and get into like Justy Ace and like, or whatever Justimon I had. I also had one of everything of different Justimons. So like I had like crazy pop off turn. But I was like, I could do even something better. Suspend Rio, trash my 4 devices, stun all his tamers. He can't do anything. Play Cyberjamon, popped his like Ukomon or something like that. I'm balling. I go Cyberjamon X. I bring out another device, pop him, Digivolve his Angar down. I'm like, all right, I'm cooking. And now I make the realization I can't do anything else because I need to have options on board.
Yep, that's the unfortunate fact.
Yep. And so I'm like, oh, I can't do anything. Like I had a boost or something. I ended up playing a boost just to Evo, and then to pop my own boost with the effect to do something. And I was just like, in my head, once I did all that whole play and I passed turn, I was like, I just lost. Without him even knowing that he lost, because he's probably thinking like, oh, he just did a crazy pop off turn. Like I'm probably cooked. And I'm in my head just like, because I knew once that happened, I drew no devices after that, so I couldn't even like refill my my board state with the Rios. And so I was like, I just lost. And I explained to him after, like a turn or two later, I'm like, I just know I lost this game. Like it doesn't matter what happens, I lost. And he's like, why? I was like, I did the stupid Cyberjamon play, and realistically that shouldn't have been the correct play. And I will keep those devices, and then I could use them when I need to, and so on. And so
it's that dopamine rush to trash all 4 of those
exactly
at once and get all the effects and stuff.
That's exactly
it's a trap.
It's such a trap effect. Such a trap effect. And so, especially when you had like no devices in your hand, like realistically, that was not the good play for me. But so I ended up losing after that. And then game 3, I started off awful. I tried to make the comeback and I couldn't. And it got to the point where he ended up getting double Angar and then double all turns effect to add my securities to my hand. Bounce, and I ended up losing. It wasn't even good. Like my security, the worst part about it is my hand was ass. It was all Digimon and I think a Rio, so I never saw a device. So I'm like, my security is bound to have a device, right? Not a single device. And then what was worse is like my last 2 security was like double rookie when I had no rookies early on too. And I'm just like,
explains a lot.
Fantastic. And I'm just getting cooked at that point. Like I also made like a small misplay. It wouldn't have mattered regardless because of the play of the double tamer allowing to swing end the turn. But like I had a play where I was able to do like 5 checks, and I had a was it the level 4 strike Digimon on board, and I should have just swung out because I was thinking about swinging out first with it, because Angar bounces lowest level, right? And so if I get rid of that, he can't bounce into my hand, and he can't add to my hand. He can't add my securities to my hand, and so
unless he draws.
If I did that, it dies because I don't. The first check was 8K because I swing with just the X. 2 checks. And I was like, oh, I should have did with that. Unsuspend, swing again, and then I would have done like 5 checks, and then like whatever happens. Like, but the way he ended up going Angar, he climbed up and got into the Angar, and then somehow when attacking, yeah, when attacking from the kendo to draw. So then that means I still bounce my security back to my hand. I still lose. So it didn't matter in hindsight, but like that would have been the correct play, or even stay as a blocker. I think I had the potential to be a blocker. I don't remember, and that would have mattered too. Like there was definitely things I could have done way better, but I just didn't because I was cooked regardless because I had like no devices. But I tried. I had one device at that point because I was able to pop, or maybe it was a scramble. It had an option, something. Downside is I just so happen to play 2 decks that also don't really play much options, and so that kind of hurt too because it's not like I get free pops on their end. So like TS, there's only one option they play, which is the Time Straight movie theater
in
boost,
between theater,
right?
yeah.
In between theater, yep. And then you have Angar plays 0 options. The only option you might see is the Tukuya one, the draw one trash too.
Right, I was gonna say they play options, but none of them are delay typically.
Exactly. And so, unfortunately, in that aspect, so I had to manage my options correctly in that matchup, and I just didn't. Obviously, how you doing the stupid Sour play? Yeah. And then game 3, round 3, I ended up playing against Shine. He's more of a newer player. He's also just there for like a throw-in as well sometimes for us. But he's still learning the game, and his ratio is not optimal. So it's like it wasn't even like right to play, but like it is what it is. And so he was playing the Awakening of the Sun option, and I just kept popping that every time I did a play. Just to pop theirs versus my own. And he had training. He went like double training. And then I went like blitz arm pop. And then I went into Excel arm pop. And then I went like just the X to pop something else or something like that. Because he had like triple options on board. And I just kept like swinging out. And that was basically game 1 and 2. Because he never saw a shine. And I found out why he never found a shine afterwards. Because he didn't have good ratios for that. So I was like, well, this was why you're not popping off the way you should be popping off with a shine, and definitely gonna help him rebuild that and get him the stuff he needs for shine, so he could do more and actually play the game.
Right.
On his part. So that was just basically. I wish I would have done better with the Justimon deck, but it is what it is. I do like what the guy thought process is for it.
For sure.
And then also, there's one card I mentioned before. He threw an Altea, and at first I thought it was like a throwaway thing where it's like, you get a reduction Evo here and there when it happens. But it's more than that. So it's the same concept as having X antibody on board. Not on board, but when you go, you swing, you Evo on your swing, so you get the unsuspend as well, and you do the shenanigans, and you get an OTK out of that. And it doesn't matter if your Evo reduction is 1, 2, whatever,
0 most of the time,
or 0. Yeah. And so realistically, I think the idea is you're going to do the you play it, and then you swing with Justy Ace, and then you Evo into the Justy X for free, and you just keep comboing. And this is a mid attack, and you still able to get the unsuspend, like keep comboing and just do cool stuff like that. So it came up here and there. I don't know if it's like needed, but like it's something. Like if you have it.
I'm wondering, so I've also thrown that list together, but I've made my own spices and changes to it. Dan and I was talking about that a little bit at locals last night. And I wonder if you're better off just like removing like most of the devices in bottom end and just playing like Invisimon, Justimon top end. Like I know Invisimon is kind of, I think at that point it's
just a different deck, right? Like that's just a different deck now. Where you're trying to accomplish with a Justimon focused device deck. For sure. But probably an Invisi still the better way to go if you're just like, I want to have Justimon, but like everything else is ass, but Justimon. Like,
right. It's like it's so annoying for the reasons Dan said. Like if your opponent doesn't play options, it's like it's a really like uphill battle because you have to pop all of the things that give you value. So a lot of the time early game you're playing boost, you're playing training, and then you realize, oh, I could crack this to get the effect, or I could crack this to get the better Justimon effect. And it's like you gotta decide whether 2 memory or turning off your opponent's something is better, which is like annoying. But Dan and I are both Justimon enjoyers. If you haven't watched the Time Stranger prequel yet with Justimon, go watch it. It's the sickest thing ever. Yeah, it'll make you a Justimon enjoyer as well. Chat.
Hey, speaking of that, we can potentially get Justimon TS support just because of that with a Demumon as a champion warper. You never know.
Yo, I would definitely play that deck. A TS Justimon. You get like the warper. You get what was his name? The brother. I want to say it was Coda. I don't remember. But imagine we get like a Justimon deck with Inori's brother as the tamer.
Yeah,
that would be sick. That'd be really sick.
That's what I'm saying, you have that, and you get a Deputumon that can evolve into into Justy for 3 or something like that.
Yuta? Yeah, so I can't remember the kid's name. Doesn't matter. That would be cool. Anyway, for my locals, I ended up getting second place. I played Dark Masters, as you guys know, one of my favorite decks to play, and I had ordered a bunch of cards. So our locals is on Sunday. I ordered them not the Thursday before our locals, but the previous Thursday, and I still haven't gotten them all in. I just got my Seriousmon, the last Seriousmon I needed in today. I wanted to play Gamma, but I'll probably end up playing that tomorrow at locals. Last chance really to play before new set drops, right? So I just played Dark Masters, all reliable. I did make a couple of changes though, because previously, if you guys remember the last time I talked about Dark Masters, I was playing red base, draw, Crimson Blaze, etc. I have swapped back to purple base, and I am playing a very tax version of it, where I'm running 4 Karis and 4 Keenans. And I'll be honest, it kind of slaps. The thing with Keenan plus Kari is that's +2 memory whenever Warumanzimon dies. So like when you have multiple on board, you just steal turn like crazy. I'll get to it when I talk about specifically my matchups, but in one game against Angar, I had 2 Karis and 2 Keenans on board. And that means if a Warumanzimon ever dies, I gain 4 memory. Like, and it ended up really like
turn at that point.
Yeah, I'm stealing turn all the time. Like, cool, gain all your memory off of whatever, but I got a Mega Siege or a Metal Siegramon that stuns your tamers, and I've got like lots of ways around it. But so yeah, I'm playing pretty heavy tax, and as a result, I had to make some painful cuts. I ended up cutting 1 each Dark Master to make space for 4 Karis, 4 Keenans, and I'm on 2 Digi Emperor and 2 Yellow Kari. I'm not sure if I like Yellow Kari or if I like Analog Man better. Probably Analog Man, realistically. I think the draw might just be a little nicer off the machine in the Metal Sea. I'm not sure. But it really hurt cutting the Dark Masters down. I kind of want to go back to 4 of all of them. But with the cuts, I also did throw in some Cherrymons and a Puppetmon Ace, which did come up in one of my matches. And then my rookie lineup, I'm on old BT2 Tapirmon, baby. Give me a draw on delete. And then Ukos, of course. So
no Fasco.
I like Tapirmon better because I'd rather have just draw instead of draw trash.
Oh yeah, this is Dark Master. Never mind. I don't know why I was thinking like something like Machinimon type of deck.
Originally, I was running Siako, which is the same effect as Fasco, draw 1 trash, 1 on delete. And then I was like, wait a minute. Why not just run Tapir and just get straight draw? Like, literally the only cards I want in trash are when I play the 1 of APOC, which realistically isn't happening every game. So I'd rather just have a straight draw instead of a draw trash. So I prefer the Tapirmon, actually. So round 1, I played against Angar, the same Angar that Dan played, round 2. And yeah, I spent a lot. The way the deck works in this version is that, so in like regular Dark Masters, a lot of the time it's like, okay, I play Warumanzi, I play Dark Master. With this version of the deck, it's like early game before they're really set up. You don't care about Warumanzi and Dark Masters. You play your Tax Tamers. And you just set up that way because now late game, you get a ton of value off of them. So that's just kind of the play. Oh, you're not going to raise. Oh, you're just playing Tamers. Then I'm just going to play Tamers too, pretty much. And meanwhile, I go Uko or Tapir in the back, and I just get my chip damage. Obviously, I'm on the Demi Mara where you trash a level 5 to draw or higher to draw 2 cards. So that worked out pretty well for me. Basically, both games went more or less the same, where I just set up too many Tax Tamers for him to get a meaningful turnout. And I just did the Dark Master thing. I had Metal Seedramon to stun his triple tamers, and I had it was really interesting because I would get in these situations where I would have Uko or Tapir. I'd swing into security to try and get my draws, and they wouldn't die. But it ended up playing out for me because then when I play Waramonzimon, Angar targets the level 3 first. And so
I was about to say, like, how are you popping off that much if that deck just bounces? It's not like you're on leash or anything like that.
right, yeah, there were so many situations where I would have my rookie would just live, or I would deliberately just not swing with it and leave it on the board so that Angar would be forced to remove that, and then I can just block with Waru. There's some situation. I remember the last game of the last turn of our second game. I was talking through plays with him because obviously I played Angar, I think last week or the week before. And I'm like, I think it would have been smarter here if you would have just eaten the memory here and just gone Beowulf to neg 4 on Uko and then go Angar and get rid of the Warumanzi instead, and then I wouldn't have such a pop off. Because like I said, I had like I think 5 memory steel tamers at this point on the board, so it's like that's 5 memory for me now. The really cool thing about the Keenan package as well is after they pass turn to you, Spiral Mountain suddenly goes insane because Keenan gives you +2/+3 memory, and now you get to start your turn at huge, and because all of that stuff activates on opponent's turn, it unsuspends anyway right away, so it's ready to go if they remove your Waramonzi the next turn or whatever. It did hurt taking out 2-cost Matt to make space for all the other ones, but honestly, I'm fine with it. I like this version of the deck. It's a little toxic, I'm not gonna lie, but it's pretty cool. So round 2, I played against Royal Base, and this was an incredibly long stall fest match because they can just keep recovering over and over and over, basically ad nauseum once all their security is face up. And they have, not only do they have removal protection a lot of the time, but they're also almost never suspended because they'll have reboot in their face-up security, and so Puppetmon does nothing in the matchup realistically, like 90% of the time. And I kept drawing Puppetmon. I'm like, dude, you need to go away. I'd much rather have a stun here, or more importantly, the Digivolve off machine. So game 1 just ended up running super long, and then I took it. And game 2 ended up running super long. Game 1, he was really last week when we played, because he's kind of a newer player getting back into the game. Last time when we played, he was asking me about like game theory stuff that like we talked about on last podcast about when to swing and giving your opponent resources and stuff out of security. And he was like afraid to touch my security because he was afraid of what potential like resources I could get out of security. And the second game, he went around it a different way. He was like, oh yeah, I remembered last time we played Dark Masters against me that you told me that I should try to rush before I can get my setup. I'm like, yeah, definitely the play. But it still didn't matter because I really just stalled him out, and we ended up going all the way to time and then +3 turns, and there was still no winner. So obviously I just won there. We were both almost at deck out. I had like 4 cards left in deck and he had 7, but I also don't need to draw any more cards at that point. So he needs to draw to Evo and do stuff. So I guess theoretically he could have just kept passing turn every turn because I'm not removing a security. Like he has like 6 to 8 security that are all face up for just from his effects constantly. Oh, Liberator, you print the best. You print 2 yellow decks and don't make them recover, and then make green the best recovery deck. Crazy work.
Crazy to think about.
Yep. And then round 3, I played the Nightmare matchup, and honestly, I wanted to play this because I wanted to see if the tax style would actually make this matchup manageable, and the answer is no. I played against Styrakomon. Game 1, I ended up winning extremely fast because he bricked. He didn't find a level 3 all game, so he would slam 4s and try to go from there. And he didn't also realize the Kari thing, so he tried to keep turn off Lamia, and I'm like, nope, actually, tap Kari, it's my turn. and then I was just removed with Piedmon. I kept having Piedmon in my hand, and I honestly just rushed him down. I found stuff pretty quickly, and I just cut through his whole security before we found a rookie and could really do anything. Game 2 was a little bit of a longer match, but ultimately he just won out. Like, this matchup is very difficult for Dark Masters because Styraco can choose to trash your face up Digimon, which is very valuable for them. Basically, my security that he does hit, the ones that he doesn't burn, basically need to be cracked, need to be Spiral Mountains or my Tamers, stuff like that. I'm able to slow them down with like Digi Emperor, for example, but it still wasn't enough. I was really hoping that between the combination of Kari and like Digi Emperor, it would be enough. Like, I literally kept like kind of a mid hand because I had a Kari in it, and I'm like, maybe this is the answer. And it wasn't the answer game 2. So then I ended up mulliganing game 3 when I had an Akari in my opening hand, and then my hand just kind of didn't really go anywhere. If you don't open Uko, like, the deck's pretty slow on the draw, and like I said, because I cut down one of every Dark Master, I was never finding a Dark Master that I really needed at a time. Most importantly, Metal C or Machine Dramon in that matchup. So it's just like, I was kind of just trying to fight for my life the whole time. At one point, so I did make room to put a couple Cherrymons back in, so I'm at 3 Cherrymons specifically for the Puppet Ace. So at one point I had to hard Evo Puppet Ace on top of Cherrymon to get Styraco off the field, and then I went Medieval for 7, and giving Styracomon 7 is not great. But it was literally my only play. Like, I was hoping that he would make the mistake of playing something off the Lamia Inherit or something, so I could at least get a Suspend down and stop him from finishing me, but it wasn't enough. Dark Masters, still a very fun rogue deck, still very what's the word I'm looking for, skill checky, but sometimes it's just not. Styraco is just so mean, it's just not enough.
Yeah, you don't need to. Never mind. Anyways,
never mind. This is a podcast.
Styraco,
we're here to talk.
Styraco is Styraco. You know, it's not, you have to put effort into it. You just do the Styraco thing and you just win.
You're not wrong. It's a good deck, and it's a straightforward deck. So
yeah.
Which, I mean, red decks. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's fine. I had fun. Sure, it's frustrating to lose, but I was honestly fine losing, knowing that I was specifically testing to see if this would work into the matchup. And now that I know, I feel more confident to never play Dark Masters until Styracomon gets it.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Definitely need better support for Dark Masters to keep up with Styraco, that's for sure.
Definitely.
I don't know what that is, but it's something. Because Styraco just eats it alive, in my opinion.
I need like reverse Congo. Like, you can't trash my security.
Facts. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick ad break. Our sponsors, DigiGuard, is here. We mentioned it the last time you saw this. Check the link below for any gaming TCG needs you want. 50% off if you use our code. Link is in the description. Today we're going to show you some sleeves. They have some great sleeves. They comes in 3 packs, so $27. You can grab them. So realistically, like $9.99 ish per pack. For 100 pack, it's not too bad.
Pretty cheap.
Be able to sleeve up 2 decks if you want. Only downside is that it's only white. So if you want any other colors from Dragon Shield, DigiGuard, you can get you only get white, and it's called Dragon Slayer sleeves, not Dragon Shield. That's why I kept, you know, calling it that. But these are pretty nice sleeves. If you need some sleeves, you get them pretty fast when you order them. And hey, sometimes you might get a 4th pack for no reason, because that happens, I guess. Pretty good shield sleeves for your deck.
I mean, $10 is pretty good for 100 sleeves, and like, even if you don't want to use them for the deck, maybe you don't like the shuffle feel or whatever, that's fine. Like, use them for when you ship cards, use them for your collection. Like, $10 for 100 sleeves, pretty nice, not gonna lie.
It's not too bad. And they're really strong. Like, it feels safe, and your cards feel safe in the sleeves as well. So it's pretty cool.
Wait a second.
And also whatever needs.
Is it $10 for 100 sleeves, or is it $10 with 15% off for 100 sleeves?
True. $27.99 times 50%. You know, do the math. You'll have what you need. You know. But yeah, so don't forget, use our code if you ever want anything from DigiGuard, and don't buy those prices if you don't have to.
Straight up. Gotta love it. And
But
they
anyways,
have tons of other stuff. Deck boxes, bags when they get those restocked. The bags are great. We talked about them last pod. And the deck boxes, ooh, they're fire. They have awesome art on the inside. Like,
yep,
they're sick. They
are beautiful. Now we're going to get into the main topic at hand. Today, we got the DGU definitive BT25 tier list. Let me share my screen, Gino. We're ready.
Yep.
Check out sleeve.gg. This is, Yavarni's website for all card games, or going to be all card games, but for Digimon, you can check it out. It got Digimon, Gundam. I don't remember all this stuff. I just know they have Digimon Gundam.
Chrono Core, I think
Chrono Core, yeah, Chrono Core TCG, yes.
And Grand Archive? Does he have Grand Archive?
I think Grand Archive. I think it's Grand Archive. Yeah.
For all your TCG needs.
Eventually it'll be everything. But for right now, that's what they have. And if you make sure you check it out. Also, if you have any comments, if you see any bugs, let us know, and we get those fixed right away for you as well. But with that being said, we're going to jump into the tier list now. First off, we got, surprisingly, I don't know why, but we got Crossheart. Gino, where do you want to put Crossheart? Prior to that, hold on, I just remembered. Hold on. As per usual, our tier list rankings, meta defining, as usually was considered the top, going to be the top decks you're going to be facing. Competitive, maybe not meta defining per se, but it's a very good deck. You will see top as well, top of regional as well. Rogue is going to be like that one deck you see every once in a while. Every regional got that one deck. Always got that one deck. Last format was Vortextramon kind of, but you get with the idea of it. And locals Warriors, you already know. Those are going to be our probably weakest tier list, weakest decks. They're not necessarily bad decks. They're just not going to be the most competitive in this environment currently.
Right.
But like I mentioned before, start with Crossheart, because Crossheart is number one on this list for some reason. What do you think, Gino?
Crossheart enjoyers, rise up. Your deck is competitive again. Realistically, I think it's either bottom of competitive or top of Rogue. I think we can see a top off of Crossheart. The new Cross 7 is pretty crazy. No way. It's not locals tier. It's better than that. Though Dan and I were talking about this. Typically when we make tier lists, we actually have 5 tiers. And right now it feels like the power level of the game is pretty good to where we don't need the 5th really bad tier anymore, which is pretty good. At least as of right now. That tier is reserved for stuff that doesn't get support, basically.
Correct.
I don't know, dude. I think Cross 7 is a really good card. Plus Cross 7 plus Fire Rocket go crazy. E-Cross 6
just right there.
Yep. E-Cross 6 very good. I think all the AD01 decks are like pretty solid, except maybe my boy Gamma, but I'm gonna try to fix that. I'm sleeving up my Gammamon deck right now. You won't even see him on this list. I don't know, Dan. What do you think? Why do you think it needs to be Rogue instead of bottom of competitive?
I think because we got too many stronger decks that's going to be in meta defining and competitive, especially with BT25 and the starter decks around. I just don't think it's going to have that much oomph, and I don't think as much people are going to be playing it as much as well. Like you mentioned before, the Fire Rocket combo with the Shaman X7 is very, very strong. As we saw in Latin America, this deck won a regional. Besides the point of a Millenniumon botching the win, but that's neither here nor there. They did it, yada, yada, yada. I just don't know. Those other decks are just going to be so much faster and stronger, in my opinion. This deck, you need to set up with the Tamers first before you can like pop off. And I just don't know if it can do enough consistently for a bunch of people to be like, this is the deck to go into a regional with.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm fine with Rogue. I think Like I said, maybe
All
bottom of competitive, maybe, but I don't know.
Next thing we got on our tier list is Gallimon. Gallimon got recent support in 8001 and it got a second place finish in a regional in after 8001. Remember, some of these decks we're going to be talking about is pre BT25, so we're just thinking of what this is going to be going to BT25. I think this deck is also currently a rogue choice as well. I think it's probably more closer to locals, but because Gallon X is still a card, 8001 Gallon is very strong. I just don't think people are going to be playing it. Again, same concept, right? A lot of these other decks are very strong, and I don't know if people are going to be willing to put the time and effort to want to learn this deck that's good, but it's just not as good consistently compared to what they could be playing otherwise.
I agree that Gallant's a rogue deck. Plus, you also have to factor into the fact that like these 8001 cards are like more expensive than like regular S arts and like a regular set. So like people are going to have to seek these cards out and buy them and pay the money for them. Plus, you've got, of course, shiny new card syndrome coming out with the new starter decks and the new set. So you can kind of expect some of these 8001 decks to kind of fall off a little. Maybe not completely, but they probably won't have enough representation as the new cards, which is just how card games end up working, right?
Yep, agreed. We didn't put it on this list, but because I don't think it's necessary. If you're thinking about doing like the Digimon, like Trinity Burst OTK with the 81 stuff, I would say I would throw that in like locals area as well, just because like it's not. I'm not gonna say it's not a real deck, but like it's.
Is it really a viable strategy? That's where
I don't know, right? exactly. So, as of right now, Gallimon I think is rogue, which is crazy to say because if you would have told me this, last Nat season 1 of 2025, I would have, not believed you, right? Because that was a tier 1, arguably best deck in the format at that point, type of deck.
For sure.
It's just the way the landscape of Digimon moves. We got Imperial Digimon next. This is an interesting one. I don't think it goes anywhere from where it's at right now. If you understand where I'm getting at.
Which means it's a competitive deck?
Correct. I think if we're going to see this at the bottom competitive, I just don't think anything else can like... I underestimated the power of FM when it first came out. When we first talked about it, like way before like the spoilers or whatever for 8001. I thought because it's still the same old Imperial, DNA deck, you need to find those 4. Sometimes you don't find them, and like, what do you do with this if you don't find it? This card is so cracked that you can avoid that and just evil up a line and call it a day. And this thing's solo sometimes. This card is broken. Like, and so I think even with the new stuff that's coming out, especially like some of the crazier new stuff that we're getting with like the new Jupiter support, the new Forest deck with the Baramon deck stuff, I think this card is just still that strong where like people will still play it a lot because Imperial is a fan favorite deck.
And prepare for some random blue and or green deck that slots this in as a couple copies of, because it's just a really good floodgate effect. Like even if it's not an Imperial deck, you may run into this card like straight up.
Yeah, agreed. You might see it even in Red Purple Imperial. We didn't put Red Purple Imperial up on this list. Just thought about it. I would say that's more also a rogue deck, just because if you high roll that deck, you just win at points. Yeah, Imperial is a good deck now. Next on the list, we'll just go with the 8001 stuff since we seem to have a few 8001 decks. Omnimon. This is representing just generic like Omnimon, not Alter S, but like Omnimon shenanigans. Unfortunately, I think it's locals tier. Deck is still very strong. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think you're going to ever really see it consistently in a regional style setting. 8001 Omni is broken. Again, great card. Fantastic. That deck has consistency issues in the most weirdest sense because you play a lot of searches, you play a lot of draw cards, but you just don't see the pieces that you need. You need 2 rookies, you need 2 megas, you need Nokia, you need and obviously an Omnimon and sometimes some other stuff as well, and you just don't have it. And people today game know how to play against this as well. I think that's also a thing. And the idea of a lot of decks can just OTK at 4 or 5. They don't have to give you, 2, 3 potential things from security matters. So this deck is hard to rank because of that. But I think it's a locals tier right now.
I don't think it even topped any major events since AD01 started, right? Like a pure Omnimon deck. Like it's all been just like Alter-S ping pong. So
yep.
Sad day for adventure Omnimon fans. I was playing a fun version of this deck with just the Warper Adventures and then the 6s and this. But I don't think it's enough. Good card, but the deck as a whole is still a little bit finicky, which is so crazy because like Dan said, if you asked like a year ago or whenever,
this is the most broken deck in the game.
Yeah, it's like, great. I hate this deck.
Yep. Especially now, I didn't even mention adventure side too. I think adventure is probably better. If you go adventure Omni, that's probably better than like regular Omni, like Nokia probably. Just because you have more consistency. Yeah. You have more consistency pieces in that sense, probably I would say. But it's still in a weird spot where at that point, if you go adventure Omni, you might not even have like the DNA rookies at times. So then like how are you going to DNA into Omni unless you hard Evo? It's just in a weird spot.
Yeah, I agree.
Next AD01 deck is Red Hybrid. Red Hybrid got a huge boost in AD01 when it came to the triple tamer, when it comes to Aldermon. Fantastic cards. They allowed you to go burr so much easier than it did prior. I don't know where to put this because I think the other stuff, the new stuff is just so much better. When it comes to BT25, that I don't know if it will still do the same thing it was doing in AD01 format, but I think it still could be either like top of Rogue or bottom of competitive.
I agree. That's where I would put it as well. I think it's stronger than Shoutmon Cross 7. Yeah, I think it could end up being competitive, could end up being Rogue. Like at the end of the day, it's Red Hybrid. Like it's gonna go burr, and if it goes burr fast enough, it just wins. So like, don't hit that triple tamer out of security or you're cooked. The fact that they printed Rush on top of that Aldermon too is just insane. Like Rush and an end of turn swing that does 2 checks every turn is pretty bonkers. Not even counting like memory shenanigans or running Floodgate Parade level 6. Like deck goes stupid. I think we could see it, but it's also possible we don't. I don't know.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about Red Hybrid as well, didn't mention, is they turn from getting into either Ancient Greymon or Emperor Greymon as fast as possible into I'm gonna swing with Aldermon, and then I'm gonna go into a Floodgate ass level 6, and whether it's Volcanic, Metallic, even IPM fighter mode, the red purple one, and even Medusa in a sense is not a Floodgate, but like it could definitely affect your opponent's board state somehow and chill on those, which is kind of weird and crazy to say. How Red Hybrid is kind of turned into this like Red Hybrid toolbox per se, not just your standard Emperor Gray or Ancient Gray Red Hybrid deck.
Which I think is blasphemy. If you're not running Emperor Greymon in your Red Hybrid deck, don't talk to me.
That's funny. Next AD01 deck is Blue Hybrid, but it's like really like Yellow Hybrid now with Angar on top end, but then you got Venusmon as well. I think this deck is meta defining. I think it's the most broken deck ever. No,
no, you don't. No, locals. This is a Rogue
I think it's
or
locals.
Maybe locals. Okay.
I think locals deck, I just don't think you're gonna see enough people wanting to run it. In comparison, I think it's just head and shoulders worse than Red Hybrid at the moment. And you can't even like go Magna Guru, you have to go Angar, and then you have to also have like Venusmon. And if you're doing all that, sometimes you're just not doing anything. You're kind of like, you're not trying to win the game, but you're not trying to lose, if that makes sense, especially if you're going to the Venus route. And so I don't know. I don't really feel too strongly about it. I just don't think you're gonna see too much representation outside of like locals. For locals level, phenomenal. Honestly, like I've been playing against it a lot when you and you know our boy Darian playing it. And it's a good deck, but in a regional setting, eh.
At the end of the
Eh.
day, if you're going to take a hybrid deck to regionals, why aren't you taking red over this one? Like
Exactly.
simple as like Beowulf is just not printed at the power level that Alderman is.
Yeah. And to be honest, you have decks like Millennium can just deal with it. And same with Red Hybrid, but Red Hybrid is just generally more faster, but that's neither here nor there. Moon Millie is a thing they need to watch out for if that pops out.
For sure. For sure.
Next 8001 deck we got. I know we have a couple more 8001 decks before we get into like other stuff. Yeah, we got Ping Pong Omnimon. Ping Pong Omnimon Alter S is broken AF when you see everything. I just don't know if it's meta defining. If it's meta defining, it's at the very bottom, but it's definitely in competitive, atop of competitive. When you see everything and you go into your Blitz and your Crest, and it's just such a powerful combo. And then once you go into the Alter S, you pop them back out and you just have these two bodies that are immune to Digimon effects that says, I dare you to try me, because if you try me, I'm gonna go back into the Alter S and F you up again. Yep. Deck is crazy when you see everything, but it's a ping pong deck. So like if you don't see certain pieces, you're kind of cooked.
Yeah, for me, when we mark a deck as meta defining, it literally means that it shapes the meta around it, that you end up editing your deck to better deal with it. And for that reason, I think Omnimon Alter S remains in competitive, very high competitive, very strong deck.
Because we've seen W's and we've seen tops, so like it's not like it's a bad deck or like so inferior. I just think that those small inconsistency issues per se of needing double lines is a bit of an odd problem.
Yeah, I think high competitive for sure.
Yep, agreed. Next we got is, I guess we go to Liberator style, and then we'll get into all the TS and BT25 shenanigans. Liberator decks we got is Vortextramon. Vortextramon is in a weird spot in my opinion now. After Nats, after Worlds, people were like, this is a dead deck. This deck is fake. It's a fraud. And then we started seeing it like top here and there. At least like one top in like almost every regional, feels like. Everybody knows how to play around it. Now it feels like they're either taking options or cards that can like stun it and let you to chill out. But even with that being said, we're still seeing them trying to evolve their decks and like become, you know, a stronger deck with running things that gives it second attack +1, or you're running Zavaga that's second attack +1, because you have so many ways of unsuspending swinging that you get to the point where you can OTK faster than you did previously. I just don't know, because of the BT25 decks that's coming out, with Shine coming out, with Beat Break coming out. I don't know where I will place this. I would think it's somewhere between top of Rogue or bottom of competitive. And if it's bottom of competitive, I think it's better than Red Hybrid.
Ooh. I don't know, man. I think it you're right. I think either top of Rogue or bottom of competitive. The real problem is that Bandai did the thing where they tell you this card's a problem because it's crazy, it's insane, it's immune to
dual cards
to everything, and then they print you the cure, dual cards. So dual they
cards,
well, what's the saying?
What's
the saying? It's like we'll sell you the disease and then sell you the cure, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, manufacture the disease, sell you the cure. So now we got dual cards, and people are already teching away. It's not locals. I don't know about locals. But it's hard to say. Vortex is still a good deck. I think some people don't think that it's great. But yeah, like ever since people were like, Vortex doesn't work, it's like one top per regionals, basically, for a while. So I don't know. I think it can still do stuff. The new Daramon is a really good card generically for green decks. So
agreed.
I don't know. We'll see. Uh, I think red hybrid's still better.
Okay.
Oh no.
Next decks we got is fish. I love me my fishes. I guess I had to throw it on there. I think we had. Oh no, it failed. What happened here?
Oh, uh-oh.
No.
Varney.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
All right. Woo, that was close. I was about to
gotta
rename.
rename. You just gotta rename the tiers.
No, we're good. Oh, I do. Yeah. No.
That's okay. We'll talk. I'll talk about fish while you rename the tiers.
Yeah.
It's not. Ahead. It's not great. It's good. It's fine. I personally think it's a locals tier deck because it has one top, I think, and I don't think that's enough. I've seen what the deck can do, and I've seen that it is powerful, but there's no what's the word I'm looking for? No representation. Nobody's playing this deck. If you want to play a Liberator deck, there are just 100 stronger Liberator decks that you could play. Like right now, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, especially going to BT25, there's so many things that just I feel like it's gonna be a lot better. We're gonna get to those decks soon. I love me my Ryugumon. I love my fish Arimon, best girl over there. And yeah, awesome. But the problem is, like, if you're gonna play Liberator deck, you might as well play the easier decks to play, which is Medusma and like Puppets in comparison, honestly, or even Rocks. Rocks is a way easier deck to play than Fish. And if you're trying to OTK with where you are in Fish, you might as well play those others because it's a lot linear than it is in Fish decks. I think it's still a very strong deck. Don't get me wrong. If you are someone who loves Fish, you will probably do well, honestly. But I just don't think you're going to see that much representation at all in a regional setting, especially with new stuff around the corner, with everything going on. So yeah, I think it's definitely locals, but definitely not a bad deck per se.
Realistically, I don't think any of the decks that we put on this list are bad decks. Straight up.
Agreed. 100% agreed. I could have thrown Geobormon in this, and it's not a bad deck. It's just there's no support, so there's no reason to talk about it at the moment.
Right.
What else? We got Liberator decks. We have next is Medusumon. Medusumon still broken. The end. Realistically, I think this is going to be in meta defining still. Oh my god. Yep. Varney, your ass sleeved. It's killing me here. Where's Medusa? Did it disappear? Okay.
It got dropped in B.
Yeah, I see. Oh my god. I am not changing the names again. It's still a meta defining deck, as we know. The deck is broken. There's nothing that really, in my opinion, that really says no to the deck per se. I will say that Shine can definitely slow it down because you can DP neg it to death with the option effects and everything you can do with it. You just get around it pretty strong. It's pretty quick. What else? I think Dianamon is a very strong card. Dianamon says no to Marcus's swinging. You have ways around. I'm thinking Marcus. I think it's Dianamon to Shine. I'm bugging. But Dianamon does stun the deck though, and like Venusmon can do things. Ceresmon kind of slow it down potentially. Bacchus can potentially slow it down. But Progress is a thing, and so Progress is broken. And I don't know. I just don't see. And Bearmons can, battle it. I just don't know if everything I'm talking about matters when you just go OTK faster than they can at times. So I don't really think it changes in tier 1 per se.
I agree. This is a meta defining deck. It is still, I think even with BT25, it is the best deck in the game still. It ignores half of your security. It ignores half of your effects most of the time. Like, it does it all. And then if it can't, it ends on a blocker that you can't remove.
Agreed.
Deck go crazy. Build from nothing into Rush Medusa. We've been talking about this for several formats now. We don't need to linger on it. I think.
Agreed.
If you're not sure why Styrakomon is, you haven't been playing the game very long.
Yeah, agreed. Next deck we got is Puppets. When it comes to Liberators, Puppets is also a strong deck. I just don't think it's meta defining. Hear me out.
Hold on, hear me out. Why do you run
Okay.
Crimson Blaze?
Because of decks like Puppet
So what you're saying is that
and every other deck that plays by an effect,
which is mostly at this point
every deck.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying, Crimson Blaze is a main staple because of things like puppets. I understand where you're coming from, though. It's not as strong as Medusa, and with some of the new decks coming out, like, I get it. I don't know if it lands in meta defining or just high competitive, but it is a very strong deck. Go ahead. I will now hear you out. I've said my piece. It's not that low.
So, if we look at even just this past this past 81 format, how many central tops was it compared to like the other top tier decks? And everybody swears this is a tier 1 deck. It's not that many when we look at it. It was that one EU tournament that had like the 2 or 3 tops, and then after that it was like one here and there, if that. I'm pretty sure the last region we just had, which is the Canada one, didn't even have a Puppets top, which is crazy to say. Oh no, I did. My fault.
Puppets does have kind of a rough matchup.
It's one, and it's like some of them don't even have it. This is 3. I'm pretty sure I saw one that didn't have any. Yeah, there is one that didn't have any. And it's just not as crazy as people think it is, I feel like, because it's such a glass cannon deck.
It is 100%. I don't know. You know what? You're right. I didn't get a top with it, so it's not that good.
I didn't say that. And I will say that Millennium has a very good matchup into it, in my opinion.
That's what I was going to say. One of the other decks that's in meta defining, which is Millennium, spoiler alert there, it's a rough matchup. You need to tech against it, which is why Millennium is a meta defining deck, because you need to find ways to tech against it. Yep.
Next Liberated deck is Rocks. Rock has fallen off as the most craziest, like, you know, OTK deck because we have things like Medusa and Sendramon and, you know, everything else that came out for Liberators. So it's definitely fallen off. This might be crazy. It might be in Rogue right now because people are just not messing with the Rocks as they used to anymore.
I think it's bottom competitive, realistically. Like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I imagine we're going to shuffle some of these around a little bit once we get to the BT25 stuff.
Yeah, probably.
My gut feeling right now is bottom of competitive, but I don't know. Again, it kind of runs into that problem where why would you play Rocks when you could play Styraco or Sendril?
Agreed.
So I don't know. It's still very good. It's still very strong. The thing about Sendril and Styraco is that they do not have baked in D-Digivolve unless you tech something weird in. So
true.
D-Digivolve always one of the more powerful forms of removal, especially when we start coming up against ace card or dual cards, which don't have a play cost to remove. So,
yep,
things to think about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dual cards like Magnetics pops are based off play costs, right? For some of their pops,
not his pop,
but like the inheritables.
Pyramides and the inheritables do. Yeah. So that's something to think about. Central Medusa don't care about play cost.
I think we're already putting it down. Already.
Okay.
Next we got is Galacticmon. Galacticmon is, you know, the tamer killer. I'm gonna not touch your security, and I'm a Ragnarok cannon and blow your back out, and call it a day and win that way, right? Issue is Galactic, as always, is not that fast. Spoiler alert. Here's a big spoiler alert. For anyone who doesn't know, if you're at this moment in time when you see this, you should know that Premium Band-Aid is dropping a new LM set, and they spoiled us a new unique emblem, which is going to be for Galacticmon.
Let's
I would say,
go.
I would guess it's coming out in July-ish, when that new tournament promo pack comes out. And so who knows what that could do for it. But for right now, without that, I think it's going to be in locals tier. I don't think people really play it as much consistently, in my opinion, unfortunately. I think people sleep on it and they don't think it's a good deck per se. And even though it is a good deck, you can do a lot of things, control the board quite easily, and then you OTK them out of nowhere. I just don't know if people play enough for people to want to care about it.
I'm gonna go bottom of rogue with this. Tamer kill is going to matter heavy into Glowing Dawn, into Beat Break, into, or Glowing Dawn is Beat Break, into Data Squad, into Data Shine. So being the most consistent
that is very true.
Tamer murderer, plus it turns off Medusumon Warp, it turns off Lamia into Styraco. I'm a fight for bottom of rogue with this. It is still slow, but if you open the nuts, you can really just control a board. And I think with Tamers turned off, it suddenly becomes annoyingly competitive in some situations.
Agreed.
The new EX11 Galactic is just so mean of a card.
Sure is. It's broken.
But we'll see.
But here's the thing about that as well. I think now Bearmons can get bigger very fast, and they could just go, I'm gonna keep running into you and battling.
Yep, battle is definitely a problem because the X11 is immune to effects, but it doesn't have protection against like being removed. So if you can battle it, if you can raid into it, you might be able to end the attack, but you can't end it battle because battle is just an instant rules check. So
So I think that's also going to be a problem for that deck as well.
For sure, especially with Monarch Liza running around.
We got a couple more, for sure. A couple more Liberator decks to go over. And then we got 2 BT23 decks just because they're still relevant in today's game. And then we're going to get to the new fun stuff. Ex Machinamon is a deck that is, build your giant
I thought you were going to stop
wall.
there. Ex Machinamon is a deck.
Actually, I was thinking of it. I was just thinking of it, right? I was definitely thinking of just saying it's just a deck and a call it a day.
It sure is.
But you make this giant, stack and it's immune to everything, but people aren't scared of it because it's hard to get into. It's even harder to get into than Galactic is, in my opinion. Even with the unique emblem, you do cool things. Sometimes you win even before it gets to Ex Machinamon, if you even win. No shade to Ex Machinamon. It's just how it is. I think it's just bottom of Rogue, if that, or Locals tier at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I'm going to say top of Locals tier because, I don't think it's really doing anything right now.
Correct. Especially in a more competitive setting in regionals and whatnot.
Afraid so.
Moving on to the next deck we have is, I think that is... Wait. We got one more. We got technically 2 more Liberator decks. So Bullstormar is part Liberator. But we got one more Liberator deck here. Do you know who it is?
Can you find it? Hold on. Liberator. I guess technically Abadamon, right? Is that where you were going?
No.
He is. No. That's what Unchained uses against Close the first time.
I know. Until we get ones that says Liberator in trade. He's not a Liberator deck yet.
All right, tell me.
Millenniumon. We got Millennium on the last Liberator deck.
He doesn't have Liberator trait.
He has Chitose, which is the best card in the deck, and it is Liberator traded. This is my go. This man's been running roughshod over the meta low-key. People were saying that because of Medusumon, this deck is irrelevant. That's a lie. Whoever said that is liars, and they need to be fact-checked, all right? This region that just happened just now had 5 Millenniumon tops, 5 of that top 16, all right? And in the regional I top with Millenniumon, 3 of them. And every other regional has a Millenniumon top almost. This deck is cracked. It's unbelievable. I don't think anything in BT25 really stops what you can do as a Millenniumon player outside of 1 or 2 things. And 1 or 2 things is TS maybe, with Dianamon maybe, Bacchusmon may be able to slow you down potentially. Sarasmon maybe be able to slow you down. I don't think so fully, because they do cool things, but you could do things that just stops them too as well. So I think you're still going to see this as a meta defining deck.
Honestly, there's an argument for this to be better than Medusumon, and I could be swayed either way, realistically. I don't know. I think Medusumon is still technically on top, but I could definitely see a world where they flip flop.
I can't guarantee it right now. I think Millennium has more tops than Medusumon does in this 801 format. Since not even let's put it like this. Since Nats, I think Millennium One has the most tops.
I honestly can't believe that nobody played Millennium for Worlds.
Agreed. No, there was. He made top 8 and then he lost in the top 8 round.
Got you. Okay. My bad.
Deck goes lost because he couldn't find a Chimeramon. Next decks that we gotta talk about, it's the 2 BT23 decks, just because they're still really good in today's game, even back then, is Hudimon. Hudimon got the restriction of the Shack being going to 1, but this deck is still topping in today's game. I think you were still gonna see this in a rogue tier slot now. You know, Hudi doing Hudi things. If they see everything, they run cool options, they could do things. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's fallen down to rogue, and with shiny new toy syndrome plus ban list, it's just going to get more and more pushed out of favor with players.
Agreed. Yep. And the last BT23 deck we're going to run through it is Justimon. I think Justimon is another very strong deck as well. You're just not going to see it being played as much with everything else popping up. I think I feel like it's rogue tier strength, at least in the regional setting, but like, I think people just don't want to play it anymore, potentially. But yeah, 81 might have given new life with new support reprints, so maybe you'll see it more, but I just don't think people are going to play it enough. Like, there's going to be some loyalists, like DigiSean, but like, besides that, there's not going to be many people.
It's definitely rogue tier strength, but locals tier representation. So maybe top of locals.
Yeah, I think so too. And we're finally gonna get to the good stuff, the stuff y'all been waiting for from us for a minute when it comes to BT25 and all their supported decks.
Wait, hold on. Dan, that was crazy what you said before earlier in the video. I can't believe that. So all you guys who skipped ahead just to hear the BT25 stuff, you missed that. That's crazy. That's crazy. You guys are gonna be so mad.
True. Oh man. We're gonna start with the starter deck stuff. And then go into Time Stranger. Data Squad. I think Data Squad has the potential to be a really strong deck. You can do a lot of cool synergies with in between Rosemon, Shrine Greymon, and like Mirage stuff. You get some you could play your free you could play your free options with the Tamer's effects, I believe it is. And you know, you go Shine Greymon, Jill Greysword for free, and then like pop off and do stuff like that. But with that being said, I think a Data Squad deck itself currently is not that strong just yet. I think this is going to be more a rogue tier deck, just because it feels currently that it's more trying to control the board state than you are trying to like OTK people like Beat Break is in comparison. So I think right now it's going to be rogue if you're doing a Data Squad style deck.
I agree with you. I don't think it's there just yet. Obviously we're going to get more Data Squad support down the line. We've already been confirmed with Rosemon burst mode, an assumed Ravemon burst mode and Mirage Galgamon burst modes, and whatever support they end up giving those archetypes, and whether they lean into just Data Squad slop or into their specific archetypes, we don't know yet. We'll see. Probably both. Hopefully both. The Mirage deck seems like it leans both. So yeah, I agree. Probably rogue tier. I don't even know if it will be stronger than like some of these decks that we have in rogue tier, realistically. I hope so. I hope to be proven wrong, because I love Data Squad. It's my favorite series of Digimon. People who watch the show will know that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it has the shine gray, so I feel like just because it has shine gray and potentially the burst mode, you're always gonna be above for texture on it.
That is true. I mean, that is true. Yeah, dual cards do say no to Vortex.
Yep. Next we got when it comes to Data Squad decks is Mirage Galgamon. Mirage Galgamon reads kind of crack, and this is in referencing to just a Mirage Galgamon deck, not Data Squad slop version.
You're gonna have Data Squad slot cards in it, but this is like a more blue focused version.
Agreed. Yep. What do you think, Gino?
I think this is worse than Data Squad slop right now.
Woo! Okay.
I don't think the deck is doing as much as just Shine top end or like Data Squad being able to swap in like a couple copies of the Mirage. Like the new Mirage cards themselves don't read crazy. Like they're just like they're just when attack both players draw one. Like compare that to like the old Galgamon when you add a card to hand, gain a memory is just so much more valuable.
Yep.
I don't know. I want it to be good. Mirage Galgamon is on most days my favorite Digimon, period. I think he's such a cool design. And I think the new Mirage Galgamon is a very strong and well-designed card. But I wonder if just like more of these cards just synergize a little better in just a Data Squad slot build. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like now this card gives Mirage like the OTK focus back, and you just go do your shenanigans like 2-3 checks off of this thing, and then you go burst mode, and then you just finish things off.
I hope so. I'm gonna try. I haven't thrown it together yet. Obviously, we don't have the cards yet, and I usually don't build ahead of time, so I apologize in advance.
Super evade too, I think, in a sense where you can go evade and unsuspend as well.
As long as your opponent adds cards to their hand. Yep.
Feels pretty strong. There's no floodgate, which I personally love. That is not a floodgate effect. But I don't know. I feel like with this plus the restricted Mock Galgamon being back to 4, this feels like it's, you know, pretty good again. But maybe it's just rogue for now. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of Mirage enjoyers out there.
I'm one of them, so I'll let you know. Yeah. To be determined.
Next deck we got from Data Squad is Shine Greymon. Shine Greymon gets obviously the beat break, not beat break, the star deck stuff, shenanigans, and you get the new burst, the secret burst mode. I think this deck is tier 1. I think this is meta defining. I think burst mode reads so cracked that you're just OTKing people out of their shoes whenever you feel like it.
Interesting.
This card is just look at this thing. Raid piercing, second attack +1, blocker barrier. Like, what the F? Mind you, you're evoing over Shine Greymon for 0. You're when Digivolve when attacking, activate the main option side. The option is -15 on something, then play a tamer card from your hand while paying the cost. And then here's the crazy part: all your Marcuses gain 12k and rush. Like, how much more broken can this card be? I think this reads so crack with the 80-1 shine, with the Shine Greymon from the starter deck. This is just so strong. Like, it's just crazy. I think this deck this pushes the deck to tier 1 instantly.
I don't know. For me, I'm thinking top of competitive, but I'm not sure. The thing with me with getting to burst mode here is that a lot of the time, the way Shine Greymon works is that you're passing turn on your Shine, especially now. With the way the deck currently runs, you either pass turn on Shine or on Ruin mode. So I'm wondering how often you're going to be able to keep turn and then use this crazy effect.
Well, if you normally do Shine combos, you chill on Shine, you haven't passed turn yet.
Lately, all the Shines I've played do the big pass turn push swings. You get end of turn, Evo into Shine. I don't know. We'll see. For me, I think it's top of competitive, but we'll see.
Well, if you think about the quick combo you do, right? You go Geo Gray, Raise, you play, like, you have DigiGuard set up or whatever, right? And then you play Marcus, Evo, Rise for free. You swing the Marcus goes to the Shine, right? And now you still keep a turn at that point if you're doing it that way. And then you go burst mode for free. and then you just do whatever the hell you want. Like this thing has everything you want on a card. Like I don't know. It's just I think it just reads crack as AF.
Okay, we'll see. I will step back on this. You're the shine master, so you better go win something with it.
I mean, I don't need to win anything currently.
You don't need to,
no,
but I'm saying you need to prove its place here on the tier list.
I'm definitely going one of the guaranteed. Let me put it this: guaranteed one of the regionals we're gonna go to, store regionals. I'm definitely playing Shine. There's no questions about it.
It's definitely gonna top. It's definitely at least competitive.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the last of Data Squad stuff. Let's throw the Ran. We're gonna go into Beat Break first. Beat Break, I think we only have one deck on here for Beat Break. Yeah. Beat Break is we just put it all together for Monarch Lazamon. Beat Break looks crazy. Straight up.
It reads insane. All the cards in this deck.
I don't know if this is necessarily meta defining per se. I think this deck is going to be very good. I think it's going to be minimal competitive, and that's not even a question. I just don't know how high it's going to be in that sense. I feel like I want to put it on the safe side and like put it down here because I just don't know if it will. But I just know the deck has a built-in OTK from like 5, really easy, honestly. The the dual cards for Monarch Lazamon plus Habakirimon, yeah, is really good. If you want to run it, you can. And then you have the level 6 that's fantastic as well. That's part of like the OTK strat of it. It just feels really, really strong. And then obviously this guy right here is broken as AF, honestly, with the amount of things you could do. Having Rush, second attack plus 1, such a strong card.
You know, it's a real funny side tangent. I was playing at our other shop the one day, and they run Yu-Gi-Oh at the same time that we play Digimon. And I was playing my game and I hear someone say, I'm going to go Habakiri. And I like whip my head around so fast. I'm like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh.
That card is a terror in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's why it's funny. That's where the all roads lead to Habakiri, because there was so many decks that like bridge into that part of the deck, and it's just like the most broken thing ever.
I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh, but like when I heard Habakiri, I like snapped my neck around like Habakirimon. I was like, oh, never mind. The thing right now is that these decks are not practiced. They're all in theory. So the question is, how consistent is this OTK from 5 going to be? We don't 100% know yet. It looks really good, and it looks like it draws you a butt ton of cards the whole time. So
yep.
It reads meta defining. It may only end up being competitive. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. We'll see. It might honestly be like this, but we'll see when the time comes. And finally, we got some rogue decks that got support. We'll talk about those before we talk about Time Stranger. I keep bumping back Time Stranger stuff because Time Stranger is probably the most important part of this tier list, honestly. Right. We got this new Ghoulmon in for a Battlemon. Honestly, unfortunately, this card is broken. Not gonna lie. And you could do some cool shenanigans, but it
doesn't fix any of the problems of the deck.
No, like, straight up,
that's what it comes down to.
Card is broken.
It's cool.
You could do a lot of things. You trash these opponents' security a lot, pretty easily, and it has Rush, so you could do the effect twice on one Ghoulmon. But like, it just does not fix the issue that the deck has. Would I be surprised if there's a 1 random top because some madman decides to cook with this? I wouldn't be surprised, but like, it's still gonna be locals tier, I think. Probably over here, maybe, I don't know, but it's still not that good.
What's so funny about this is like, if you think, like, you think about Abaddamon, you're like, yeah, that deck was pretty good, but like, you think about it now, Abaddamon moving, it goes to 18k and then kills all lowest. Cool, man. Right. I don't give a fuck about that in the current game. Like,
right, exactly.
And you have to wait till like turn 3, turn 4 to do it. Like,
yep.
It's very funny to me.
That delay of its own style deck, because you need to have all 4 eggs in the trash, is such a it's a lot to ask for this deck in today's game, where TS can just go bonkers and so many decks can go crazy. It's a lot to ask for.
Yeah. Agreed.
Next random deck that got support Excel. I
Let's
know
go.
Gino here is super excited about Excel. Talk to him about it because this Digimon is broken.
Digimon go crazy. Yeah, in a way, I guess you could argue that what is it? D Brigade got support too, right? Because all these cards are all XL and D Brigade. All three cards are very good. I don't necessarily think they fix the problem of the deck. The deck is a lot stronger. I mean, it does fix the problem of the deck and it makes the deck stronger, but like at the end of the day, it's making a 15k Chaosdramon, 16 or 17 at most, with the inherits from Sealsdramon and Commandramon. When it pops off, it goes crazy. It's a very high roll kind of deck. You roll the slot machine. Having an immune to everything Chaosmon is very cool. Valder Arm, as we all know, is a very strong card. It's just a matter of, are you going to be able to get to it before all these really fast decks blow you out of the water? I don't know. For me, I think it still reads locals tier. Maybe that one madman that loves Abadamon loves Excel and can do it. But it's really just the deck. The deck's a DNA deck. The benefit is that instead of finding 2 lines, you need to find all of 1 line and then an additional 6 and the 7. So I don't know. I hope it's good. I'm gonna try to make it good. This is probably what I'll play on pre-release because it'll be easy to get a playset of all these. So
I think this is probably gonna be the one deck that we're like, in hindsight, we're gonna look back and be like, oh, we were definitely wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a sleeper deck where this like accidentally goes up to like here, where it accidentally goes up to here. You know, Rogue. We'll see.
Put in Rogue. Put at the bottom of Rogue.
Sure. Why can't I put it behind? There we go. I just wouldn't be surprised because like these cards read crazy, and then Chaosmons themselves are broken. Like there's not a single bad Chaosmon, and so with that aspect, and it's so much easier to play him for cheaper, and you get to the DNA for a lot cheaper than you could previously. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I just wouldn't be surprised.
I wish there was a way to make Ultimate Chaosmon work. He's such a cool card.
For sure. I think that's the last final. We have one. We got one more deck. We got the TS. We got Rebumon. We got the final Appmon deck. This deck reads more. This deck reads the best Appmon deck we've gotten.
It's so funny.
With that
like,
being said,
God.
I was gonna say. With that being said, I think it's still a rogue deck.
Agreed. The funny thing about what I was gonna say is that, except for Aranosmon, every single Appmon deck we've said the same thing. This is the best Appmon deck so far. This is the best Appmon deck so far. Like we're getting there. At the end of the day, it's still an Appmon deck, and you still need to do your shenanigans. So
the thing with this new Appmon deck is Rebumon. They gave it more cards where you can like do a lot of things cheaper, so you could climb up a lot faster, which is pretty good. And Rebumon reads pretty well, right?
Busted. The tamer is really what
busted.
Goes
that
crazy.
tamer could be used in any deck as well, any Appmon deck as well, which is pretty cool. And then same with the option that they got as well. The reason why I say this is like probably the best one, because this right here gives itself immunity at any time, basically on all turns. So it's when it's linked and when it's unsuspends. So yeah, reboot naturally because it's Rebumon, duh. And so it gains.
How funny would it be if this card didn't have reboot on its face?
Yo, that'd be funny as AF, right? So I think with that, like you could see, I think you will see a first Appmon deck that will be like, not saying, I don't know if it's gonna be up here, but I think it has a chance to be up here where with the big guys playing potentially.
A couple of us are gonna try for sure.
It does get really big. Shine Greymon can only neg so much at times, but Shine Greymon can neg a lot of off option effects. So it's very possible it can. I don't know. I think it's still gonna be. We'll see, because Appmon decks are notorious failures in competitive settings.
Unfortunately, you're not wrong. I don't think a single Appmon deck has topped except for Gaiamon, right?
Maybe once. to be honest.
Rip.
All right. Chat, audience, listeners, we finally got to the actual BT25 stuff, the actual Time Stranger decks. I think this is gonna be probably the funnest part because we don't know. We can guess by what the cards read and whether we've either play tested or not off of DCGO and whatnot. And it's just gonna be interesting to see how everything plays out. First we got is TS Slop deck.
It's time to get strange.
This is we're gonna put Homeros as the Time Stranger Slop deck. What we mean by Time Stranger Slop, and people complain about the word slop, sure, it's slop, or TS Toolbox, whatever you want to call it. It's the same
Olympus
concept
12 Megazoo, basically.
Yeah, basically what that is. You get a whole variety of new. You get the rest of the Olympus 12s with Bacchus, Ceres, Deanna, Apollo, and you get Grace Nova as well. I think I'm missing someone. Volcanus and Marsmon as well. So you have 6 cards you add to your disposal of those type of things, and you add to the deck and you make it the way you want to make it. I think this is still a competitive deck. This is a really good deck. Those cards just add to the shenanigans you want to add. You want. You also get more searchers, so that's more consistency. You have more what's it called? Rookies that can free Evo if you choose to have Ultimate in this deck. You have a lot of things you can do that's pretty good in my opinion. And so this deck is still just a very competitive deck. Better than these 3 at least, in Profit Puppets maybe, but I don't know, we'll see.
I think this is meta defining. I think that this deck already gets tops like crazy. I think it did just fine throughout AD01 and through the previous format, and getting just new tools to throw in the toolbox is never bad. The hardest thing about playing this deck is that now you're going to have to make some tough decisions on which 6s you want to run, because they all read pretty good. Plus, again, you get better low end stuff. Like straight up, unless you're playing Jupiter, I think you throw Elecmon out for Lunamon, because now you get a jamming inherit.
Yeah,
plus
it's a better searcher.
It's the same search. But now you have a better inherit, basically. Like, unless you like really want to get the security neg on yourself so that you can set up your Venusmon for cheap play. So maybe, but Lunamon I think is almost strictly a better card in most situations. You can take out maybe some of your 4s. I don't know. You're probably just on Aegyo, but you have a new Aegyo to run now if you want to. Like, I don't know. I think this is a meta defining deck. I think you're going to see it everywhere still. I think the people who are TS Olympus 12 Megazoo loyalists will still be on this deck, and they'll just adapt. I think this is kind of like Royal Knights, like in a way.
Yeah, kind
of. Yeah, it's got like a loyal fan base, and they'll just get new support for a while, and they'll just keep swapping out a couple cards, and it'll keep ending up on top.
Yeah, no, for sure. Don't be surprised if you see that one person that's running all 12 of them.
I hope so, man. Honestly, if I see an all 12 Olympus 12 deck, I won't even be mad.
Yeah, for sure. Next we got is Jupitermon. Jupitermon got so much support in this set, in the sense of a new Elecmon that's really good, a new Aegiomon that can replace the bum ass promo Aegiomon, and then we get the
Aegiomon? I don't want to hear about that old one.
Exactly. And then we get blue Aegyo and green Aegyo. Blue, I feel like, allows you to just OTK. Green has Vortex on face and can do suspend your opponent's stuff, and you can just do a lot of like green shenanigans per se. This deck feels really strong on paper. I haven't played tested myself or anything like that, but I'm excited to play it. Based off of what I know of Jupiter, because I played against a lot of Jupiter currently, the blue one especially is what this deck definitely needed.
For sure.
I think this might be meta defining as well. Or at least bottom, or at least top of competitive.
I'm gonna go for top of competitive. It still does have a really mean matchup into Millenniumon. However, blue Aegyokus is a huge answer for that deck, because now you have a very flexible and archetype Digivolve. Which is very powerful against that deck. You can still ruin mode turbo like nothing. I think this is still a very strong deck. It's hard to say if it's better than Central, but the new tools kind of say, yeah, maybe. Like, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I still think Jupiter is a very strong deck.
I think the one thing that Jupiter has over some other decks is that natural ability of decode, and where you don't like, if they don't have multiple ways of removal, you can still have a Agiomon chilling on board, and then you just build off of the Agiomon again and then do things. The cool thing about it is if you can also decode, you can also protect as well at the same time, and then maybe still keep your Jupitermon on board, stuff like that. You can do a lot of cool things because of the decode with the Agiomon.
The only problem here is that the new Agiokismons do not have decode as inherits, and so you're going to have to make some decisions when it comes to what Agiokises you want to run.
It don't matter when that blue one says unsuspend on both face and inheritable. Like, that's how good it is.
It's good. And honestly, completely removed from the card game, I think I used the blue one the most in the game too, because that steel attack just did so much damage.
It did a lot. It did a lot for sure. I remember. I think I had him on blue for a hot minute too, if I remember correctly. Cool. Yep.
He's just so cool, dude. The big metal arm that's also a laser gun that's also like can shoot off, like, just go crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Next we got is Junimon. Junimon is kind of crazy. We have Junimon and Shaq decks kind of separate because the idea of them I think is different. I think Junimon, you're gonna run the Clavis and Angemon quite easily as well. Junimon allows you to make a wider board with all your stuff. I think it was.
Junimon deck feels,
yeah, you guys to play Angel, so you can do some cool things with it. Yeah. Go ahead.
The thing with Gino is that I feel like this isn't going to be a card that's really its own deck. I don't think you're going to see a 4 of Junimon deck. Okay. I think that this deck is going to end up being supplemental to TS decks, either as slapped into Homeros, or it synergizes extremely well with Jupiter. So
I've heard otherwise in testing, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. I think it does. We'll see. Obviously I don't have my hands on the card and I haven't done the testing yet. So, Junimon as her own deck. Yeah, maybe Rogue. I don't know.
On paper with Clavis, I feel like it sounds strong. So I don't know.
For me, I feel like Clavis might be just run more often in Shakomon deck, but
sure.
We'll see. I don't know. This is the one I was most not sure about.
Yeah, agreed. But I think she has a throne room that's a pretty good card, and then
throne room
herself is pretty solid. But yeah, I agree. Kind of sense it might be a support for other decks. A lot of people were talking about support with Jupitermon, but then I've heard recently they weren't a fan of the Junimon and Jupitermon, so I don't know. Maybe that's just they're testing how they felt about it and the way they play the deck. I don't know.
Space is tighter than ever in Jupiter now that you have multiple Agiokises. Yeah. So I get it.
For sure. Next we got is the Shaq. This is supposed to stand for like the new like Shaq loop deck. We got rid of one loop deck, and of course Shakumon creates another loop deck.
He's back.
This reads crazy. So basically the idea is you get into this, you play another angel, you keep playing your angel's DNA, and you just keep doing it over and over again. And I don't know. People are talking about this is the new hot thing. This might be a tier 1 deck. I'm gonna be on the safe side and say it's a competitive deck. Because I'm not fully sure yet, but I know from what I've read and what people talk about that this deck goes crazy when you see all the pieces, and the fact that you can just keep looping the cards the way this works is kind of crazy.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. The in theory extremely strong, in practice probably still very strong. But I don't know if it's gonna define the meta or not. I'm gonna play it safe also and say that this is a highly competitive deck. I'm excited to build it.
Yeah,
because
it seems
the whole deck is
pretty good on
the
paper.
whole deck is like rare and lower.
And the cool thing about it, like with this new angel support that we got when it comes to like the Angemon, the Shaq, the Magna Andra, the Clavis, you can rebuild like 3 Great Angels kind of, and like
I'm so excited.
add
Big
new
Domini
life
fan.
to 3 Great Angels. And so that's a thing as well. You can do
Definitely
a lot
gotta
of
be
cool
experimenting.
things with the new stuff for sure. Definitely same. Next we got is the deck, the Time Stranger deck I'm hyped for, which is Bear Brothers,
Very
TS
cool.
Coliseum, Marsmon. I don't know where this is gonna be, but I think this might be up here. this deck reads kind of crazy. I'm gonna put it in competitive as well.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
you think it's higher?
No.
Or you think it's lower?
I think it's lower.
This deck can get super big, super fast. Trash security, gain second attack +1. You can do a lot of damage very fast. You can tell your opponent no on your opponent's turn with the what's it called? The oh my god, I forgot his name.
Callus?
The brother. Yeah, Callus. You have a option in TS Coliseum that gives your dudes rush, I think it is. So it allows you to swing even faster with more bodies. I don't know. It feels like it's like really strong on paper, and the fact that this guy gets like 23k easy, I don't know. 3 checks pretty easy, and every time you battle, you trash your opponent's security. You can trash opponent's security twice in one stack on your turn and your opponent's turn potentially. If when you win a battle, it feels this. I don't know. This deck feels kind of crazy.
I don't know. Maybe like. It doesn't have any protection, right? Like none. Like it's just gone.
No,
like Callus doesn't give protection either, right? So like,
no.
I don't know. This is definitely going to be one of those I'm going to punch you hard and fast sort of decks. We'll see if it's fast enough. Is basically what it comes down to.
True, definitely in that aspect. But you do have like your bear mons that can evo for free. Or reduction evos. You're
still doing all the TS things at the low end for sure.
Exactly. You still do TS shenanigans at the bottom end. If you want to have the DNA, you can throw that in as well, and then evo into the Marsmon. There's just so many things, ideas you can do with the Marsmon. I think it's just very strong.
My question is that is it going to end up being like TS Abyss Zone, where like it comes out strong like the first week or two maybe, and then like it falls off because other TS stuff just ends up being better, and like it's just not as consistent as we hope. It's
100% possible,
because that's kind of what happened with Abyss Zone. I feel like everyone thought it was hot shit, and it is. It's still a good deck, but like it just has a couple of consistency issues, like getting there. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. It definitely is possible.
I feel like that's going to be the story for a lot of TS decks that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Next deck we got is Justimon.
But not this one. This deck is insane.
Yeah, I think this is straight up meta defining. I don't need to play this deck to know this thing is broken as AF.
This thing is murderous. This plus Beelstar X, like this deck is busted. Stupid busted.
With the red option, I forget what it's called. I think it's red trigger, something trigger. Bind red trigger. Yep. You can just loop that card and just keep trashing your opponent's security. And you just do crazy shenanigans, like being able to abuse this because of an option with Beelstar X, and just keep using its effect if you need to. Use his own effect on his body as a main, to be able to use your trash option to unsuspend. Man, this deck just sounds crazy as AF, and you have new support that gives it what's it called? Consistency with the new searching with the Gazi and stuff. You have ways to place cards underneath very easily. Black Gado with the Asuna can evo into this for like 2 or 3, whatever it is. Consistently get to the Beelstar Mar with no problem, and then get to Beelstar X. Man, this deck feels crazy strong.
Yeah, this deck reads insane. There's no way that this isn't meta defining.
Agreed.
Get ready to hate playing against this.
Yep. Agreed. Next we got is my boy Justimon. This card is broken.
He's really good.
AF. This
but
thing gives
one good card enough.
Justimon protection. It has multiple new good cards in Justimon.
That's true. That's true. The Witchmon.
So you got the Witchmon, you got the Dorimon. You have, if you want to throw them in, Orochimon, Deltamon, because those are also Titans. You have a variety of new stuff that you could throw in if you want to.
It
Now,
doesn't change my question though. Is it enough?
I was about to get there.
Okay.
Does this make this stronger than what it is? Because right now, if
Stronger
you
than
take
what it
this
is?
out,
Yes.
if you take out what it is, it's Titans is considered like a locals level deck, probably like the bottom locals levels. Just because the way the deck works, you just need so much, and it just don't have it, and there's no
Right.
protection in the deck. But now with this guy having protection, all turns you pop things whenever you feel like it.
This art is so fire. Art? It's S tier.
I had to keep the silence. For a sec.
For art, it's S tier.
Yeah. Realistically, I have no idea. I'm gonna be real. I have no idea because everything else is so strong. This card is broken. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if this is bottom of competitive and probably like in the rogue style. But like this card, I think carries the deck. This deck is just, if you see this win, it's because of this card. This is the reason.
For sure.
If you get to the Skull Bellucci combo with the Asuna stuff, and you just pop off, this is a free Titamon on your turn, and you just zap back if you have Mem Setter. It's just a lot going for the deck, and I just don't know, because I play Titamons currently, and I know how it feels against other decks. It's just, I'm not sure yet. I'm not fully sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna say top of rogue, but I'm hoping that it's bottom of competitive.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if you see regional top side of this deck, because this card is just broken. Like it's just crazy. Being able to Evo over your Titamons for 2, to Evo regularly for 4, on play on Evo when attacking, you get the trash card, delete all your opponent's highest DP Digimon. After played or Digivolve by an effect, trash the top security card. Like when a deck that already naturally has like second attack +1 and alliance in it.
As I recall, the new egg is really good too.
Yeah, that lets you unsuspend. And then all turns when your card is trashed from delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon. This card right here can deal with a Neptunemon with ease. And that's why I think like you can see this being a competitive side, because like you can just deal with your opponent's board state with no problem and does not give an F. Obviously, if it has Digimon protection, period, doesn't matter.
Right.
But like, I don't know. This card just is crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
Miserable matchup in the Millenniumon.
Yeah, probably would be.
And Medusa probably.
Yeah.
Which hurts its chances a bit.
Yeah, no. We go with the high roll and hope for the best, you know, if you're a Titamon player.
Hell yeah.
Next, we got 3 more decks. We got Bacchusmon. This is going to be TS Forest area. So this is including Sarismon in the deck.
Right.
What do you think this goes? Because this could be, I don't know. This is going to be a strong deck, I think. I just don't know.
I think this is going to be a competitive deck. Sarismon giving Digimon protection, and then Bacchusmon making your board super wide. This is going to be borderline the new Justimon deck, where here's a really wide board. Can you deal with it? If not, I kill you next turn. Also, I'm immune. So if you guys really hated Genkumon and Genkumon X, too bad.
Yeah, that's basically what that is. Yeah, Bacchus plus Siren is definitely what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, low key, this is green Justimon. You're gonna build a super wide board. They're gonna be immune, and you're gonna have a hard time dealing with it because of the all turns of Bacchus. So,
yeah. So the cool thing about it is, right, you have the floodgate effect from Bacchus. Right, we're looking at it right now when it says when any Digimon are played or Digivolve, you may suspend one Digimon. Then if played or Digivolve by an effect, delete one of your opponent's lowest DP. You have that floodgate effect. Plus, you have the Sarismon effect going on as well. That's kind of a pseudo floodgate, I believe, right?
I forget what she does. I just know that she gives protection to your board.
Right, that's only on Evo.
All your
and plus, if you have Homeros, as well, like it's crazy. So this is all turns I was thinking of. When any Digimon suspend,
oh right, yeah, the neg
to one of your opponent's Digimon, neg 3k to the end of turn for each suspended Digimon. So you can blow something in twice if you have both of them out. Plus your own board state. It's just very, very strong. Like you mentioned, I didn't even think about it until you mentioned that this is green Justimon. So like the idea is you don't get to your Bacchus first. You get to your Bacchus first. You get the you're gonna play a bunch of bodies for free basically off the back. It's plus like if you suspend your Orochimon that you're gonna be running, you're gonna get 3-4 bodies out of it, and then you get to the Sarismon, whether it's played off of its own effect or it's played by Sirenmon, or if you play off like the option or something like that, you get to that. Now you got like 4 or 5 bodies, all immune probably, and you tell your opponent, can you deal with this? Yeah, probably can't, and I win next turn. So yeah, definitely a strong deck. I think it's definitely in the competitive side. Meta defining is up here. I don't think so. I think you're right. So. It definitely will be in the competitive side for sure.
That's what I think.
Last two is we got Volcanismon. This deck reads crazy with what what he reads plus his own option card. But I don't know. What do you think this needs to be placed?
Honestly, I think this is maybe around Titamon strength, unfortunately.
Ooh, really?
I think so. I think it's going to be around Titamon, where it's either going to pop into competitive or bump down into rogue. The real problem is that I think the rest of the TS decks are stronger, and you're going to run, I think, into the issue of being a little bit bricked because you have to run so many option cards. I feel like this is the one that is going to fall into that abyss zone problem, like I said earlier. I hope I'm wrong, because I'm definitely building this deck and I definitely want to play it because I just think it's really, really cool. But I think this could be the one that ends up falling off. I don't know. What do you think?
Potentially, yeah. I think the idea of what it can do is very strong. The issue is, like you mentioned, you have to run a lot of options, it feels like, in comparison to what you normally run in your other TS decks. You're running definitely at least 4 of his main option. You're probably gonna run like at least 2 to 4 of his factory zone option probably, and then you're probably running more of your other, the kill option effects that link. And so that means you're running less space for consistency pieces, and that may or may not affect your deck. But if you're able to get the Zao and you have the setup, I think it's very, very strong.
Agreed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is in a rogue / low tier competitive of it.
Yep. Yeah, I think it could go either way.
And finally, we have to
Galaxy.
Grace Nova. This is Ping Pong Galaxy now. This is the idea of this is basically what Alter S is with the new ping pong style, where you're gonna bounce off, you're gonna evo for free, you're gonna get all the way up to your Diana and your Apollomon, you're gonna do some crazy effects, and then you're gonna be able to DNA into this beast of a behemoth. I think this card is a very strong card, but at the same time, it's not that strong. It's very outable. And so I think people are going to try this, and I think you're going to find this deck in a crap. All right. We're going to see this in, where did it go? I think we're going to see this in a rogue.
I'm going to be honest. I think this is almost as strong as Alter S. Almost.
Interesting. I think there's a huge difference.
I don't know. It reads cracked. The partition is like, the big thing is that Dianamon is insane.
Dianamon is the saving grace of this deck, in my opinion.
Dianamon go crazy. And then
I think you're able to see Dianamon being used way more in other decks than like being abused than you are going to be in this own deck. I don't know.
Dianamon is going in that Mega Zoo version for sure. Grace Nova, like, you need to de-digivolve it to remove it, because if you remove it any other way, it partitions, and then you get Apollo and Diana out. You can ping pong all the way up before your start of turn and then snap the turn back to 3, which is potentially a problem. We'll see. I don't know. For me, I think this deck is better than Dan gives it credit for, but we'll see.
It could be just the inner Galaxy hate, It could be the inner Galaxy.
Dan really hates Galaxy.
I think Grace Nova is cool as hell, but like
super cool Digimon.
the innate hate of, Galaxy deck from previously. And so maybe that's what it is. It's just a hater in me talking about this deck. I just don't know. Just because it's ping pong. But at the same time, like when you ping pong up to Diana and Apollo, it ain't the same as when you ping pong to Blitz Gray and Crest Guru, because those two are cracked together in comparison to those two.
They're different.
You got your cool floodgate effects, yeah, but you're immune to all effects. You're immune to Digimon effects, period.
That's true.
And then when you get into the Omni Alter S, you go, I'm gonna do more damage, and then I'm gonna bounce back to those two, and then chill. You're just chilling on the Grace Nova, and you're just doing whatever the cool things you could do, which is like negate an attack or whatever, which is fine and all. Don't get me wrong, but like, yes.
I don't know. Super strip and then end an attack is pretty crazy.
It is, but like,
I don't know. Remember that counter timing is on both turns.
Yes, it is. Sure is. Well, not this, because this counter is only on your opponent's turn. This is just a when attacking effect as well.
Right. What I mean is that it's proccing both turns.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I was like, wait, don't lie about counter. Counter's only on your opponent's turn, technically. Yeah. No. Yep. Because it's one attacking as well, which is interesting. In this set, this is the first time we've seen cards with counter as a keyword on it, which is pretty cool.
Beelstar's.
Hopefully we see more of those in the future. What? Yeah, Beelstar's.
Beelstar's counter is insane. What the heck? I can't believe they printed that on a card. Don't ever swing unless you're removing that thing.
Yep. And so this is our tier list. Do we have any objections real quick? Do we need to maneuver some things out of the way for this before we close this tier list out?
I don't know. I think we're pretty solid with this, honestly. Kind of stated our piece about everything. I don't know.
I will say maybe because I'm like looking at it, you can't. I don't know if you have 6 decks in the meta defining, so maybe Shine gets put down to competitive. But I feel like it's still gonna be that card is cracked, because like I just think you're gonna see this everywhere now, because Shine is a fan favorite, and when Shine was strong and competitive back then, you saw it everywhere.
Put Monarch Liza below Beelstar or top of competitive.
Maybe we move Millennium on anywhere?
If Millennium goes anywhere, it goes up, honestly. Like I don't think it's worse than any of those decks. Honestly, maybe.
Do you think that maybe because Beelstar is just a faster deck versus this? Like maybe these are just faster decks than Millennium on is now.
What do you give a shit? Like Millennium on just sets up and then steals turn. Like I don't know. Like Central has one of the fastest and most consistent OTKs, and it still has trouble with Millennium on. Like,
no, that's fair. That is fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be the tier list.
Oh no, you ate my whole security. Now I have 5 cards in my trash that I can use.
Yo, facts. Or they're on my board and I just stole your turn.
Yep, exactly. I don't know. Millennium on insane.
I think Medusa is still considered probably arguably top tier best deck. I think we're adding to the best decks in the formats with these, with like TS being stronger in general. All the TS decks. Monarch is Beat Break is gonna be fantastic. Beelstar is gonna be fantastic. I think Medusa, it might not be the best deck when we look at it at the end.
Maybe not.
Because we're gonna have things to deal with Medusmon a lot more than we did previously, I feel like. But I think this is a pretty good list all said and done.
I agree. I think it's solid.
And we're gonna stop sharing, get back to the pod. That's it for us. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think about the tier list? Did we get anything right? Did we get anything wrong? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Let us know down below in the comment section. We love reading those, especially if they're funny. Let us know.
For sure. Listen, we gave you our bad takes all night. You give us some of yours. All right. It's equivalent exchange here.
Yeah, exactly. With that being said, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Momentai, everybody.